So when you spoke to the internal affairs head once every fortnight, did you learn anything about the status of this email that you sent to them?
I'm going to object to the form of the question, particularly the fortnight portion.
State.
Well, did you testify that you met with the head of internal affairs once a fortnight or something else?
I said every 2 weeks.
All right, then we're on the same page. You'll accept with me, I'm sure, that fortnight and 2 weeks are synonyms, right?
Let's not go into that. Maybe he doesn't. I
Okay.
kind of believe it's 2 weeks, but I don't want to say that either for sure. I don't have a dictionary.
So
Let's
in
move
the
on.
term, fine. Then now that we're clear on all that, you met again with and this is this Christy Preston, right? You meet with her every 2 weeks, right?
Right.
Okay. So following this, after you sent this email on May 3rd, what, if anything, did you hear back from Christy Preston on the email that you sent?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay. And did that cause you to then initiate an investigation into Doug Percy or something else?
No.
Did you have any discussions with her, with Christine Preston, about Doug Percy and involvement in the escape after this?
I probably
Objection to
did.
the form of the question as far as Doug Percy's involvement in the escape. There's no evidence of that whatsoever.
Sustained.
Okay.
Any
How about
investigation?
knowledge of the kitchen worker? Did you have any other conversations with Doug Percy's knowledge of the kitchen worker? Let's say concerns about the kitchen worker prior to the escape.
I'm going to object. This is asked and answered several times at this point.
I'm going to allow. Go ahead.
I may have had conversations with Chrissy Preston and or maybe my executive staff about the role that the kitchen worker played in the escape and whether or not any other supervisors, including Doug and Makta, may have had some responsibility for that.
Who may had those conversations maybe with?
I just said my deputy secretary Pahacek at that time. Shannon.
And that's the same deputy. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you finished, sir?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay, so that's the same deputy secretary Pahacek that forwarded your email containing Sue Novak's statements about Doug Percy to Chrissy Preston of Internal Affairs, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
She was my number 2 person.
Okay. Now, you said leadership team. You may have had some discussions with your leadership team. Did I misunderstand that?
Objection to vague leadership team with
leadership team regarding, I'm sorry, I'll do the whole question here. Leadership team regarding Sue Novak's allegations that Doug Percy had knowledge of the kitchen worker possible allegations ahead of the escape.
That would have been limited to Deputy Secretary Pahacek, and I think my assistant deputy at that time was Jared Hoy.
Okay. Did you talk to Makta Fesai?
No, I wouldn't. In fact, once I would get something like this and I would pass it on to Internal Affairs, I wouldn't talk to Makta or Doug about any of these allegations because they might be subject of the investigation. I just wouldn't do it.
Okay, but and to be clear, as of May 3rd, you had already made a determination in your own mind that you didn't believe that Mr. Percy had violated any policy, right?
Objection mischaracterizes the evidence. He said based on this email, not made up his mind.
Right.
Sustained.
Okay. So given all that in mind, based on this email, correct?
Yeah, based on the email, I mean, all he did was he was trying. The culture in the Department of Corrections is that every warden believes that, you know, they are the king or queen of their castle, and that they should be able to make all of these decisions without any input from anybody. So Doug Percy merely was saying to the warden, it's your shop. You make the decision. I'm good with whatever decision you make.
Okay, and what if a warden asks for help?
Objection speculation.
Sustained.
Oh, okay. So let me put it this way. If Warden Novak was asking Doug Percy for help, does that change your analysis?
No, it doesn't, because as I stated earlier, everybody has their own management style. You know, some people want to empower the people that work for them and let them make decisions. And sometimes you have people that want to be more assertive and make decisions for the people that work for them. You know, I'm not saying one style is better than the other. The and the only time that I believe that a supervisor should strongly intervene in a situation like that is if, um, you know, they see something truly critical about and flawed about the decision making. In this
Okay.
particular case, the warden knew all the facts about what was going on with that particular case, and she was struggling about whether or not she should put that person out. That means that either decision was something that could have been supported one way or the other. But um, Administrator Percy or Deputy Administrator Percy decided to um, put the ball back in her court, so to speak.
Okay. And Administrator Percy was her supervisor, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And again, he wasn't even investigated, but she was investigated, right?
Objection mischaracterizes the testimony. He said he didn't remember or doesn't know.
Sustained.
All right. So you don't know whether, but you're the secretary and you don't know whether or not Doug Percy was ever investigated, right?
I don't recall. He may have been, he may not have been.
Okay.
But and I obviously did not impose any discipline on him. So I don't know if it ever reached that point.
Okay. Have you ever promoted Mr. Percy?
I did.
Yeah. When did you do that?
Oh, geez.
Judge, I'm going to object to relevance at this point.
Sustained. Unless you can tell me a good reason, Mr. Cross. I don't see what relevance it is.
Well, let's find out when it happened first, and then it's absolutely relevant if we've got two different strokes for different folks here, Judge. The men are getting promoted, and the women are getting punished. That's what we have here, and for them,
That's not an allegation in the complaint, and we're not going to go there, no.
it's not an allegation in the complaint that Doug Percy was treated differently than her.
With respect to
okay.
the issue of this particular investigation and nothing else. So we're not talking about other things.
Now, Warden Carr, did you ever receive a letter from attorney Sue Novak's attorney prior to her filing the Equal Rights Division complaint?
I'm going to object. We're beyond the scope at this point, Judge.
What's the purpose of this?
You went through all these questions, Judge, about when he was aware of the ERD complaint. So in fact, he's
Correct, and
aware-
that was to determine whether or not anybody he promoted to a warden as a female occurred before the filing of her complaint. And then we've now determined that there is no evidence regarding the timing of any promotion of any female, and all of that's out. So I'm not going to go into it, no.
Okay. So I just want to point you to the 5th paragraph in the complaint, Judge. It says
Are
through
we
the
talking about,
investigations by
so
the
now we're going to
respondent
your complaints?
and
Okay, one second.
complaints, it was
One
found
second.
that
Let
the
me get to
inmates
it.
were
Let me
able
look.
to escape with the
Could you-
assistance of an
Could you
active
wait?
DOC
I'm trying to
employee.
find what you're talking about. One second. Okay, so this is the January 21st, 2021 complaint, and there are bullet points and they're numbered. So we're talking number 5, correct?
5.
Go ahead.
And 6. Through investigations by the respondent and complainant, it was found that the inmates were able to escape with the assistance of an active DOC employee. Once complainant found out who the culprit was, she alerted DOC upper management, including the deputy head of the Division of Adult Institutions and complainant's direct supervisor. She was told, "It's your institution, make your own decision." Number 6, respondent took no action against complainant's male supervisor, instead decided to investigate complainant through DOC's Internal Affairs Division. So that's the basis for the prior ruling is factually inaccurate, Judge.
Nope, I don't think so. So I disagree with you. Move on.
You disagree with me that we put in our complaint that the respondent's treatment of Doug Percy was different than the male supervisor was different than respondent's treatment of the complainant, the warden.
You put that in there with respect to this particular instance, not about his promotion or other things that you want to talk about. No, we're not talking about other
It's
incidents.
absolutely continuing acts along that lines, and to show if they promoted him soon thereafter, it's absolutely relevant.
No, we're not going to do that. No.
Okay, so now I got to go to Bowen, I got to go to Brown, I got to do Fowler Tech, and I have to go through all of that there. That, of course,
We're not going to
again,
do all
not
that
only
there.
have
You've
we
got a
not-
continuing
excuse me, Judge, I'm not
violation.
finished with my objection.
I'm not.
We've got the right to get all of that evidence on the record, that this heavy-handed restrictions are not appropriate, and that, again, you have been commanded by Lurk to allow this kind of evidence in, especially if there's a borderline issue. So,
Okay. And you can talk to Lurk about that, and they can decide if I was right or wrong, if you decide to appeal this case at some point in the future.
I
And right now,
understand,
I'm
Judge.
making my decision. My decision is no, it's not relevant. And I don't believe that the things that you just read are indicative or reason enough for me to include the scope of the question that you are now asking. It's a difference of opinion. You think it is. I think it's not. I'm the judge, so I make the decision and it's done. You can appeal.
Again, it's just not enough to have a difference of opinion, okay? Because the key thing that a judge
Okay,
does
now we're done.
is
We're
to
done.
evaluate
I gave
evidence
you
in
an
the law.
opportunity to talk. I given you the opportunity to talk and you have the right to appeal. That's it. It's done.
Sure. I also
So
have
make
the
your
right to put on
decision.
the
Do you want to have
record
any
here
other questions of
that I
Secretary
object to that
Carr?
response. I do have further questions for the secretary.
Go ahead
but
and
I
ask them.
also have to put on the record here, as I have the right to create a record, that we not only do we show here by the rules of evidence, which is 902, that these two issues are directly related, but you also have not been able to say or rely on anything except for in a matter of opinion. And
I
again,
don't
that's
believe there's anything in these 2 paragraphs that talk about his promotion or any other incident. We're not talking about his promotion or any other incident. It's about this particular investigation and the conduct with respect to this escape. That's it. Move on.
Okay, thanks, Judge. I think we got that clear now. So, Secretary Carr, you made a statement earlier about Sue Novak's response to the incident in 2019 when a Department of Corrections employee was seriously injured. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay.
I
And
made
what
several
words did you
statements.
use?
Which one? I made several. Which one are you talking about?
The one in which you said that she was emotional. Do you recall that testimony?
I do.
Okay. Describe what she did that led you to believe that she was emotional.
Well, this was a serious incident that I think impacted her significantly. She was showing a level of emotion that I didn't think was inappropriate, but it was, she was almost in tears discussing the injury that our colleague sustained and just how tense the climate was and a number of the issues regarding staff climate and person in our care climate. And, I just remember, taking note of, how much she displayed her care. It was what it was.
So how is this employee, to what were the extent of this employee's injuries?
Oh, he was
I'm gonna object
injured
at this
so.
point. This may be a HIPAA violation going into this
Oh, yeah,
information.
right.
There's no
Yeah,
such thing, and you know it. HIPAA doesn't
Do
control
we have
it.
his name? Do we have his name? I mean, is it in the record? I don't want his name. Is
I
what
don't
I'm
want his
saying.
name either. I just want to know how.
Okay, so I'm gonna allow it if there's no name. Go ahead.
I don't remember his specific injuries, but they were serious enough that he went on duty disability and is no longer working for us.
Okay. Do you believe that tears were an inappropriate response to that injury?
I think I answered that already. I didn't say it was inappropriate.
Okay, but based on that response and that emotion, you testified earlier that you scheduled Sue Novak to be transferred to Red Granite to a medium security.
It wasn't solely based on that. It was based on a conversation that she and I had when I proposed that we start looking at converting CCI from a maximum security prison to a medium. And I made that suggestion because that is what she had a stronger background in dealing with a maximum security. And I believe in our conversation, she indicated that a maximum security prison is different, and it's a more challenging environment. I was trying to actually help her, I was trying to be sensitive to and supportive of her. So, when the idea of moving her to to Red Granite, that came up before the escape, and I think she was all for it.
Right. As you testified, it came up before the escape as based, and now you say at least in part, because of her tears at a meeting with you regarding
No, I
the
didn't say
injury
it was
of
because of. Don't mischaracterize what I said. I didn't say it was because of her tears. I just told you honestly that I thought that she displayed an appropriate amount of care and concern for her staff and the situation that she was confronting. I didn't say there was anything inappropriate about that. Don't put words in my mouth.
Well, the words you used were both unprofessional, and you also said she was rather emotional, right?
I didn't
object.
say
That's
unprofessional.
mischaracterization.
I never even.
You didn't
I
say her
never-
tears
no.
were unprofessional.
No,
I did
did
not
not hear
say
him say unprofessional.
Okay.
So you're writing down stuff that I didn't even say.
Okay, Secretary Carr, if you could dial it down. We're already having enough drama, so thank you.
All right. So did you discuss this meeting that you had with Sue Novak in which she cried with anybody else?
Objection, form of the question, and it's, again, he's mischaracterizing, trying to assume or insinuate that he seems to be very focused on this crying in tears, so I'm just going to object to the form of the question.
Okay, he didn't say she cried. He said she was almost in tears.
Okay. In this meeting in which she was almost in tears, or rather emotional, did you discuss this meeting with anybody else?
And again, I'm going to object because we're way beyond the scope at this point, again.
Okay, I am going to allow it because this is the decision maker. Go ahead.
I don't recall having any specific conversations with anyone after that conversation, but I believe it took place in my conference room with other people present. And I believe those other people were probably Deputy Secretary Pahacek and maybe Makta Fesahaya.
Great, thank you for that. All right. So this is Exhibit 21, at least under the old system.
Okay, 1 second. Did we mark this already?
I believe so.
Okay, so is this the investigative file?
This is not. This is the response Exhibit 21, Career Executive Reassignment Authority memo dated February 26, 2020.
Judge, at this point in time, we again are way beyond the scope here. He's now just using this opportunity to direct examination or cross-examine him again. At this,
Okay, can you
now we're
tell
trying to
me
introduce
what
a
this
new
document is? I don't even know what the question is yet, so can you
Yeah,
tell
this
me
is
what
the
this
document in
is,
which
please?
the Department of Corrections explains to
Okay, stop, both of you. All I wanted right now is to tell me, Mr. Mullenbach, what exhibit corresponds to what Mr. Cross is asking for.
I believe it's 23, Judge.
That's it.
That's a document?
Yep. Page 4, last
Okay,
page of that
so,
exhibit.
and what questions are you planning to ask here now?
They've made a statement now as to what the purpose of the move from CCI to Red Granite is. So these
Okay.
are the statements on that.
You opened it up, so we're gonna let that go in then. Okay, so let me see, I gotta do my log, so I'm gonna do my log, because I'm not gonna let this be a problem. Last time I ended up with a problem because I let you go too much. Exhibit 23.